Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday. Welcome to MMO Buff. It is the Campfire, where we're discussing everything about communities that you could possibly think of. And we have guests, and we have lots of guests, and we're joined tonight by someone special. So let's get the typical things out of the way. Hi, I am Pseudo. I am all over the place on MMO Buff. And I am luckily joined by my two hostesses with the mostesses, the ones who wear more sequin dresses than I do, Screenager.
Hello.
Blankspace.
Hello, loves.
You and your accent. And we are joined especially today by someone who you may or may not recognize. I'm betting you do recognize, but we are joined by the lovely Star Slayer.
Hello.
So, tonight is all about sexism, guys. Are you prepared for this?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Well, first off, a huge thank you to all of you who have joined early, who have been here chatting with us pre-show. And of course, if you guys continue, like I said, please let us know in advance if you have comments or anything else like that, because we're not just talking to ourselves talk. We really do want to have you guys involved with us, including bringing us campfire stories, which we'll get to a little bit later. Ooh, boy, do I have stories for people today. But first, as with any campfire, it is time to roast our guest. Are you ready to be roasted, Star Slayer?
I guess so.
You guess so. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll try to make this non-invasive procedure in some way, shape, or form. So first off, as we do with all guests, we ask three things, and this gives us a chance to get to know you, and for everyone who may not have had a chance to meet you, to get to know you. So let's start off with the best one. 2 truths, 1 lie. Any order, and don't tell us what is what. Let us and the viewers guess.
I have a feeling this one might be too easy. I'm not very good at the lying part. So, okay, let me try. So, 1, I get paid to sit on my butt all day and play video games. 2, I'm allergic to caterpillars. And 3, I have chosen to play video games over going on dates. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's what I came up with.
Blank, do you have any idea what could possibly be a lie there?
I'm not sure. They were pretty difficult. I don't know. A little bit of background research on her Twitter would definitely knock out number 3. And number 4, I'm going to have to, I don't know, I'm going to have to go with the caterpillars, maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm just, it's a guess. You never know. She's very talented, so it could be any of them. Could be any of them.
Absolutely. Screen, any choices or selections on your part?
Oh, has to be number 1. There's clearly got to be some sort of manual labor involved day to day.
And I guess for myself, I'm just going to have to go out on a limb and say I am probably certain 100% way that you would never put gaming before dating. Never. I'll reveal one thing, and has nothing to do. I have actually negated dating in favor of gaming before. I have personally, just so that you know.
Well, since this won't blow the whole 2 truths and 1 lie thing out the water, Josie, what game was it?
You really want to know?
Oh, goodness.
Yes, I asked the question because I don't want it. Yes, I want to know.
It was a mud.
Chad would be so proud.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm blushing now. Oh, gosh.
That's pretty hardcore, let's be honest. That's lore-rific.
Right, so
I get it.
Taking the spotlight off myself and putting it back on Star Slayer. I am turning beet red. Holy cow. Okay. Yes, moving on. Swiftly crashing forward. Oh, wow. This was before I met Gwyn's, for those of you who are watching, so don't think, it just... I didn't do that to my husband, I promise. But anyway, okay, so our next question for you. With hindsight being 2020, can you tell us about a decision that you made for a guild or a community that you've been involved in that you thought was a really good idea at the time, but when you look back on it now, with all the experience that you've gained, you kind of sit there and go, Yeah, I would have done that differently now.
It's like I've never been a part of a guild or anything like that before. I've been a part of like several gaming communities in the past, like the PMS clan and stuff like that. I mean, if I have to really say there's something I regretted, I guess it would be back in like 2007 when I first like joined my first team, and there was a professional gamer who was kind of attacking our team, and I felt like, you know, these are my brothers and sisters, you know, these are my teammates, they're like my best friends, and like to be attacked like that, I like attacked the person back, and like in hindsight, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I should have just, like, let it go, and, like, we should have been, like, the bigger people and just, like, you know, whatever, ignore that person. But instead, I kind of, like, made a big deal about it and started a big fight with that person. And it basically caused problems within our group because it was, like, I was like, well, why are you guys letting them attack you guys? Like, why are you letting them do this? And, like, why aren't you standing up for yourselves? And then it ended up with me leaving the team because I didn't understand, like, what to do anymore. I was like, I don't get why you guys are letting this happen. This person's, like, so toxic, and you're letting them get to you guys, and it's tearing us apart. And, you know, I mean, like, looking back on it, I mean, it was pretty immature. I should have just, like, let it go. And, you know, we could have just moved on with things with our gaming community and, like, competing and everything like that. It was stupid. It was silly, but that was, like, a long time ago. So.
I think that's something I think we all learn as we go through our, not just, you know, the gaming communities that we get involved in, but it's always, no matter what community we're involved in, like if you're at school and you've got someone who's like hardcore picking on your group of friends and you decide to go retaliate and do revenge, it's that I'm the bigger person, my dad can beat up your dad, and, you know, let's duke it out just to show that I'm better than you. And I think with maturity and age, and I think with experience, because I do know some people who are older than me who still haven't learned the lesson, so to speak. Sometimes ignoring is a much more powerful weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. I say sometimes because there are cases where it's not, and that's something that we'll probably tackle because of today's topic and show. Woo! Mystical music, sparkles. Okay, on our last question in which we roast you. So what one moment or event is one of the most memorable to you from your community life that has given you as the individual the greatest sense of accomplishment?
I've done a lot of really awesome things that I'm like proud of. Like I constantly set goals for myself, and I constantly like meet those goals, which is always surprising to me because I feel like a lot of times I set my goals really far out. But the thing I'm probably the most proud of was when I was on Team USA for the WCG Pan American Championships for Guitar Hero. I was like the first woman to be on, you know, represent Team USA, which was like really awesome. And so I went to Guadalajara, Mexico to compete. And when I got there, I was really surprised to learn that a bunch of the captains from the other teams, they all thought I was like a cheerleader for Team USA. And so when I sat down and started competing against their, you know, their people, they were like, oh. I was like, yeah, no, I'm here to represent Team USA. I'm here to compete for Guitar Hero. And, you know, I mean, I took first place for Rock Band. I placed 7th out of 13 countries for Guitar Hero. And at that point, that's when, like, when they saw me play, they were like, wow. And, you know, they pulled me to the side and started talking to me because they were like, to be honest, like, we've never seen females be so competitive with gaming before, and, like, we just seriously thought you were here, like, with the other guys to cheer them on. Like, we don't have very many females that are really hardcore into gaming here, so it just kind of, like, blew our mind, like, sorry. And then they sat down, they wanted to talk to me about stuff. And, I mean, sometimes you just don't realize, like, how the gaming scene is in different countries. And, you know, in Mexico, I guess they just don't have very many female gamers. And, you know, the best thing for me was I was just able to, I mean, inform them, like, yeah, we have a ton of female gamers, and we have a ton of female professional gamers, and they are beating out men and women, and they're awesome, and you guys have been missing out, you know? So that, I was pretty proud about that, you know, that I got to, like, show them my talent and then also, like, brag about all the other awesome females out here. It was cool. I don't know. It was fun for me.
I can totally get behind it as a female gamer. I tend to, and this actually gets to lead us into our topic, which is fantastic, because our core topic for today is literally sexism sucks. I, as a gamer, I get really annoyed when people feel the need to put the word female or girl in front of gamer. Why can't I just be a gamer? Why do I really need to have some kind of attribute applied to the title to make me as if I am something different? Like, a gamer can't just be female or male or anything. They just have to be male. And thus, if you're anything different, you have to put some kind of attribute to it to prove you're not just a gamer, you're female. That just irritates the living bejeebus out of me. So, yes, let's do this. Considering the fact that we're all talking about sexism and you have shared with us an experience you've had with sexism, let's go with you, Screenager, because you've been a little quiet, and I love to pick on you when you're quiet. It's that look that you get where he's like, great, you're coming at me. Now,
this is not the evil stare. I'm just busy. I'm doing the chat. I'm working away.
Okay. So
yes,
I firmly believe that when it comes to sexism in gaming, it is not just the women who get it, but I think the men get it as well. Have you experienced sexism as a male in gaming, or have you always witnessed it from the perspective of watching or seeing a woman actually go through it?
To be honest, I've not ever experienced a situation that I would say as a man I have experienced sexism directed towards me. If you really want to get into it, I don't really think that sexism affects guys the same way it does girls within gaming. I think to be honest, guys are influenced by sexism more by the sort of tropes that we are presented with by the gaming industry. For example, in a more hyper real sense, things like Duke Nukem, Doom, the idea of the male fantasy of the beefed up guy being the hero, and that as a prepubescent or even teenage male that a lot of guys feel they need to necessarily live up to. And I think kind of getting past that is a bigger deal for guys rather than being the victim of sexism, because honestly, a great deal of stuff that's dished out towards women in gaming, that a lot of that stems from what society feels, or certainly commercial companies push to younger men in terms of what that ideal is and how they should be act, or how they should allow themselves to act towards women within games. Like that's a bigger challenge than sexism in the terms that we might otherwise define it, as it's directed towards women. When you're talking about from a male standpoint, is getting especially younger men, but not just younger men in general, to see past that sort of trope and understand that they don't need to necessarily conform to that.
Okay. Blank.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any comments you wish to add to that before I totally nail you with a new question?
I myself have not dealt with sexism towards me, more of gender stereotyping, where, and I remember this very early on, I played video games in high school, but I didn't want anybody to know because I played football and I would be made fun of. That's based upon, that gender stereotype. You're a guy, only a weak-willed, skinny, nerdy person is allowed to do that. And so within my own sex, I was afraid to admit that. This is a very difficult topic, and I'm going to start by letting people know, me personally, I was in the military as military police. It's one of the only branches of the military at the time where females could serve with you. So my views on this are very strongly backing women, because I've gone to combat and lost female friends who stood beside me in really crappy places. And I don't see people by their body parts or their gender, but by the actions that they do. So just before we dig into this, I have a very, very broad polarizing view of it doesn't matter your gender, it matters what you do. So when I hear of people like Starslayer who goes and instead of, oh, you're a cheerleader and letting that kick her butt down, she's like, woo, let me rock your face off. That to me is awesome. So let's knock into this topic because it's going to be good.
Okay. Well, see, for me, the experiences that I've had, I've seen a couple. I have seen the typical stereotype that we have seen applied to the quote-unquote gamer, which we've actually had mentioned out, I believe, by Catalia on the chat, something along the lines of, you know, gamer is the sweaty man who lives in the basement with his mom still, and, you know, eats pizza, orders it every time, and basically what you think of when you see the South Park children playing WoW, that whole kind of, you know, stereotype that gets applied to men. And then, of course, you have the other stereotype, women don't play games, women don't exist on the internet. You know, I had two very standout experiences to me when I started gaming that made my brain just go, wow, this is really still happening. The first was the fact that I had a friend of mine, a female friend of mine, who liked to play male characters. Just like you have men who sit there and go, I love to play the female character because if I'm going to stare at a character for the entire game time, I want to look at the butt. I want to watch the shaking of the boobs, whatever. You know, just like that, she really liked playing the male characters because of the fact that she just found them visually attractive. And if she was going to stare at the screen all day, there you go. She got thrashed and abused by the server community. And I did not like this at all. I mean, she ended up in my guild, and I took damn good care of her. But so many people trash her. Oh, you're a lesbian. Oh, I'm sitting there going, she's a lesbian because she plays a male character? This does not compute to me. Especially when you have all these guys playing female characters for the exact same reason. It just did not compute with me. So that was one of the first experiences that I had with that. The other one that I had was in a raiding environment. I learned early on to keep my mouth shut in a raid. Because starting out in like the very, very beginning in vanilla WoW and stuff like that, if you made mention on any kind of voice comms that you were anything other than male, you were not taken seriously. Your suggestions were ignored, at least in the experience that I went through. And, oh, I couldn't be good at what I did because I was playing a rogue at the time. No, women had to be healers because they healed their boyfriends who were tanks. And that got into... I remember I accidentally said something, and it actually stopped the entire raid because they weren't used to hearing a female voice. Especially one who said, we've just picked up ads. Because apparently I knew what the heck I was talking about. So I've had those kinds of experiences. Now, of course, you've brought up before in the show, Blank, that experience that you witnessed of, you know, show us your boobs, you'll get a rank in our guild, kind of thing. I mean, it happens, whether you're male or female, there is stereotypes that are applied to you. And in all honesty, I have to completely stand up and back Blank 100%. I do not care what sex somebody is. I don't care what they look like. All I care about is the actions an individual takes. And unfortunately, I think the tropes that we're introduced to are kind of influencing future generational players. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that's occurring. What do you guys think?
Where do you want to dig into this? Because there's a lot of different angles that I'd like to talk about.
Pick one. Let's do that. Let's have you pick one as to one of the things you definitely want to dig into, because this is a huge topic.
How about, because there's a lot of different things. There's glass ceiling. We could talk about. How about we'll start with the attractive versus the non-attractive female.
Okay.
And how that affects. Where, if we'll take Twitch as the base example, or YouTube. Mm-hmm. Beauty is something that, as a culture, you know, we look for and we like, but there's a lot of unhealthy things. Why is it that being an overweight guy is acceptable? There's no glass ceiling for that. But as a female, you have to be that pinnacle of good looking to get, you know, some sort of exposure or base, you know. What I'm aiming here for is this is still one of the things. I think there was a big study in 2009. Sorry, talking with my hands. The glass ceiling is for a female, if you are overweight or you hit that ceiling, whether it's professionally, whether it's gaming, doesn't matter where it is. Why is it that this still exists? That I can be a bro that's big and fat, and I can be respected and have an opinion that matters that people listen to, but as a female, here's the best part. Well, it's not the best part, but it's ridiculous. If you're a pretty female who has something to say, it's less respected. There's like this middle line where like you have to be like kind of pretty, but not too pretty.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not like all painted up and all this sort of stuff, then maybe she doesn't have like. I'd like to talk about that because it's something that I struggle with. That's kind of the reason why I take my daughter to the gym. We go to a big scary gym where there's big guys lifting weights, and I want her to be able to walk in when she's older and be like, I don't care what these bros are doing. I don't care what these guys are looking at me. I don't give a crap. I'm here to work out and be badass, you know? So I'd like to hammer into that if we could.
I think that's actually a really good idea. I also want to throw out that Robots Hates Me has said that some of the best players that he's ever played with, especially in raids and in guilds and communities, have been women. And he feels totally comfortable gaming with women, sometimes more so than the guys because of the less crude behavior, etc. And that's interesting. So let's do this. You, darling star, you may think you're going to get away with not making many comments on this show. I see you hiding.
No, I'm listening and I'm just waiting because I totally agree with what he was saying. There is this like line where it's like if you're not a good-looking female, for example, let's start with the females. If you're not a good-looking female, it doesn't matter how talented you are. You will not get the sponsorships. You will not get put on teams. You will not get a lot of things because you're not marketable. And that's basically what it comes down to. But then if you're too pretty, if you're model pretty, then you don't know anything about video games. Who is this dumb biatch holding a controller? She probably doesn't even know how to do this or how to do that. It's just just by looking at the female, that's instantly like she doesn't know anything about gaming. Who is she? Why is she? If she gets put on a team, it's instantly because of her looks. It has nothing to do with what her like professional history is with gaming, and it's like. It's really, really annoying. And I do see it with guys to some extent. And again, that comes down to marketability. I have seen guys who are like the stereotypical slobs who still get sponsorships and stuff like that. But then sometimes like they're also the same guys that get made fun of a lot and people don't really respect what they have to say, you know, and it's the line is lower for guys, but it's still there, and that whole thing is just weird to me. I don't understand why it matters. I think that in terms of like getting sponsorship deals, getting put on teams, it should be 100% based on what you've accomplished and your personality. Like if you're a good player in the community, if you are positive influence on the community, nothing else should matter. You know, it shouldn't matter if you're beautiful or not. It shouldn't matter if you're male or female. But it comes down to the companies, I think, in the end, and they have to be the ones to step up and just start sponsoring these players, regardless of gender or what they look like. And then, you know, people will start changing their opinions of these players.
I think that's definitely something. I mean, we have seen for years people going up against the quote-unquote magazine airbrushed images of both men and women. I mean, we've seen people go up against these particular stereotypes and tropes for a very long time, and it's very difficult to do so. But I also don't think we should just leave it to them. I mean, Campfire is about the community, and one of the key things about community is offering support where support is due. If you like what someone is doing, regardless of what they look like, support them. I will tell you, I have, because of the fact for some reason that I am a quote-unquote known personality now in some areas of gaming, the kinds of threats that I get start off with, you fat bitch. They immediately go for that. It's not the, you've made a comment that I don't agree with. It's, you're a fat bitch. You need to be pushed off a balcony. If you don't jump, I'll help you. That's the kind of death threats that I get. And I don't understand it. Now, I was lucky enough in the fact that when this occurred to me, the entire community stepped and went, whoa, dude. Way out of line. I mean, this has no bearing on at anything that she is doing at all. You've not said you don't agree with her point or you think her point is missing a few valid arguments or anything like that. You just went straight for something that makes no difference to her intelligence at all. So Luckily, the community jumped up to it. But I think sometimes the community is afraid to stand up for people who don't fit the stereotype because they are
because then they're white knighting. They're white knighting then. And,
explain white knighting, because some people don't understand that concept.
Well, I mean, I don't know the technical definition of white knighting, but basically whenever somebody steps in and they're trying to defend somebody, they just claim, oh, you're white knighting them, you're just like, you're just trying to ride them, you know, blah, 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 you're just kissing ass and all this and that. It's like, no, there's a line. There's a line between, like, constructive criticism and somebody saying, hey, I don't like you talking to them like that for no reason, and then just being outright, just like, you crossed the line, you're being offensive, you're being sexist, you're being racist, whatever it is, and then trying to stop you, like, no, you're being an asshole. I'm not white knighting. You're being an asshole, and I'm telling you to stop.
Yeah.
But people get attacked for defending other people, and it's stupid. So people, they don't want to step up because they don't want to be attacked.
Have you ever found yourself in a situation, Screen, where you have had to stand up for someone and found yourself attacked for standing up for them? When it comes to this?
Bloody hell. I mean, you're talking to someone that's basically been in charge of their community the whole time. So we've been running Afterlife for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. So generally, I'm going to be bluntly honest, people don't generally turn around and have a go at me from within my community because the instant reaction is usually stop being a dick or I'll kick you. So, yeah. No, in all honesty, though, it's not something I generally have to deal with. It's something that, from a community standpoint, we're kind of delving into something less general and something more specific to kind of building guilds and online gaming communities. But that's going back to something that we've talked about before about filtering the people that are going to come into your community up front and doing that front load by making people apply to your community and getting to know them before you kind of accept them fully all the way in. Understanding who you're bringing in, and therefore knowing that you're not going to have to deal with that sort of thing. Establishing those rules, that rule set that we will not accept homophobia, we will not accept racism, we will not accept you bullying, trolling, exploiting. Setting those things in place so that if you even get the whiff of it, you can just pull someone aside and go, stop it, or you go, and that's it. And those players knowing that there's zero tolerance for it. So even if at the end of the day they want to go, say for example, you have a player that hates, I don't know, let's jump onto something that's quite, shall we say, topical in the UK at the moment. Say you got a player that hates Romanians, and you've got Romanians in your guild, and you've already established that you don't accept bullying, trolling, or general hatred of people for things like where they come from or what their accent is. Despite the fact that player might hate Romanians, they're not going to come out and say it in your community, and they're not going to discriminate against someone who's Romanian because you've already told them that you don't accept that. You've established a method of running your community that's such that it has zero tolerance for that sort of behaviour. They're not going to bring that behaviour out. Unfortunately, you can't always breed out, for want of a better term, that sort of thing out of people, but you can encourage what I would consider to be acceptable behaviour. So even if you can't change people's opinion, you can most certainly establish ground rules when you're talking about a managed community. So that's probably the best comment I can make on that situation.
I agree, and I want to bring something that's been mentioned in the chat into this and throw it at Blank, because Poor Star has made mention of this, and I think this will be an interesting kind of balance. Now, we have had, I believe it was, yes, Eben, who said that it's a double-edged sword when people stand up for people, because the perceived reaction is that individual who was attacked can't stand up for themselves. That is the perceived thing. Yet we were just talking about earlier the fact that when she was younger, she stood up, and that was sort of a bad idea. There has to be a balance somewhere, isn't there?
No, because it's not black and white. You're standing on the tip of a sword. For example, I'm on a show with Star. Somebody puts in the comments something that I find offensive, and maybe she doesn't, and I'm the one who's just to be like, bro, shut up, I don't like it, I don't accept it, whatever. They might be like, oh, white knighting, he's trying to do whatever. In my opinion, there have been times in my life, whether it was real life or gaming, where I stood up for somebody. And it doesn't matter your perspective. It matters my perspective. And that's why, that's why I'm called Real Blankspace. I'm going to tell you what's up. If I did this, it's not because I think Star is weak, unable to do it herself, not going to do as good of a job. It means I don't effing like it. I don't accept it. You deal with what I have to say. And that's how I put that out there so people understand. People are going to perceive that however they want. That's fine. It's the same thing with being in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or whatever. People can perceive whatever they want, but all that matters is the interaction between two people or whatever. So you stand on that, like I said, you stand on that tippy sword where you deal with white knighting. In the end, it comes down to the actual relationship the two people have.
Yeah, see, I will tell you point blank, I have no problem sort of standing up for myself, but I also enjoy when I see that other people have noticed what I've noticed. If I'm being attacked and I'm sitting there going, well, I'm being attacked, and someone goes, no, you're not, I have to stop and go, maybe my perception of the situation's a little screwed. But if I have like 40 people going, you're being attacked, I'm like, I didn't notice? That's a whole different story than me going, yay, I'm being attacked. And I was like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm not? What? It seems like I am. So, yeah. Right. Now, I am going to let you guys have a couple statements about sexism because I want to hit the next topic, which is our campfire story. Because that's going to be a big one. Yes. So, Star. Sexism, It sucks. Yes?
Yes.
Do you have any advice for anyone who is going through anything that could be termed sexism or stereotyping in general? Because that's really what it comes down to. Sexism is a form of stereotyping. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is when it comes to stereotypes is just, sometimes it feels like I can't really, speak out about it. We're doing it right now, but sometimes I feel like speaking out about it isn't enough. I just have to, be about it. Don't just do it. Don't talk about it, be about it, the whole thing, It's if I don't want to be perceived as that stereotypical female gamer who doesn't really play games, I just want attention, blah, blah, blah. If I don't want to be perceived that way, I have to show people I'm not that way. So I do my live streams and I, compete in tournaments and I just try to set a good example. I'm not a catty bitch. I get along with other females just fine. I get along with males. I'm not looking for attention. I just want to compete because I love to compete. And, that's all I can do is just try to just act how I want people to see that I actually am instead of letting that stereotype take over. That's all I can really say for people to do because there's going to be people who call you out. There's going to be people who say you're doing it for the attention. I hear it all the time. I hear that I did TV shows just because I want attention. I compete just because I want attention. I wear what I wear because I just want attention. I look the way I look because I want attention, whatever. And all I can do is just keep competing and just keep showing them, oh, check out this top placement that I have. Check out this and check out that. Check out what I'm doing. And, that's what I'm all about. I could care less if anybody else is really paying attention to what I look like and what I'm wearing and how many people are looking at me right now. It doesn't matter. That's all I can say because that's all people are going to do.
Yeah.
Just talk.
And see, I'm going to go after her this time, so you guys get to go last, because I want to add to that. Because the reality is, I have been through the experience of, oh, you play games just because you're looking for a partner. You play games just because you want men to marry you. It's that whole thing of, you go to college not because you want to be educated, but because you're looking for your meal ticket. Seriously? And honestly, this is the funny thing. Since I have, because I've done streaming before, I've done communities and things before, and I've gone through that. But as soon as people learn that I have a husband who sits next to me, all of a sudden they sort of go, oh, she's got clout now. It's okay. She's not really looking for attention. She's bagged her mate, and it's all good and dandy now. And I'm just like, it was never about that to begin with. But, it's irritating. So the big piece of advice I give to anybody, be true to yourself. Because I will tell you, there are some people out there, both men and women, who game to find a mate. If that's what you're doing, just be bloody blunt about it.
Right. Yeah.
Just be real. Just seriously, be real. Take a page out of Blank's book. Be real. I'm gonna let Blank go last. So go ahead, Screen. You get to get your statement in.
Well, I think we can all agree with being real like Blankspace. Get yourself an axe and you'll be happy. I'm going to come at this from two angles because there is a couple of comments that I'd like to make. One, I'm just going to go back to what I said regarding gaming communities and building gaming communities. Obviously, that's a theme that we run with quite a lot on Campfire. We have a lot of stuff about running and helping build and manage gaming communities. We've said it before, I'll say it again, do all your work up front. If you're going to build a gaming community, get to know the people that you're bringing into that community. At the end of the day, the internet, as great as it is also a vile, horrible place full of the dregs of human society, and it will, given half a chance, 4chan will troll you to hell. No, but honestly, it can bring some of the biggest trolls in the world out. And when you build a gaming community, you want to feel that you're building a community or an environment where people can be themselves. So you don't want to destroy that just for the fact that you haven't done your homework with the people that you're bringing into that. Take the time, find out who you're bringing into your community, whether that be a small group of people and you just get to know someone, have a chat with them, or whether it be a large MMO gaming community where you require people to go through applications and then more questions and then a history check and an interview on TeamSpeak and half an hour of giving the rules and regulations and then an email to follow it up.
Signed in triplicate?
No, I don't ask for triplicates, but I do email. I do email a lot.
You need to bump up your entire process if you're not getting things in triplicate.
I was thinking of getting their passport photocopied, sent through, potentially some fingerprints just in case. But be aware of who you're bringing in at the end of the day and be aware that you're clear about the sort of community that you're building. Otherwise, you can destroy all your work simply by not doing that homework. Other than that, again, I will hark back quickly to something that I was saying about the media and about the way that people perceived it the way they should be. Don't necessarily listen to what anyone says you should be. Be you male, female, cat, dog, living in sin, whatever. End of the day.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
I meant the cats and dogs, not people. Clearly, you know.
Cats and dogs living together. You are basically talking about the apocalypse. I expect zombies outside. I should probably check. Seems to be good for the moment.
I think you'll find that's the stay for Marshmallow Man. You clearly haven't been watching Ghostbusters recently. As it stands, be who you want to be. Don't give two shits about what anyone else says. Be it the person in your channel and Twitch telling you that you're fat, be it the person that is streaming trying to tell you what you should think, be it the Sun newspaper that tells you you're playing an FPS game, you're going to shoot up your local neighborhood. Just be who you want to be. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks at the end of the day because you are who you are.
Now you're starting to get into the entire concept of how media sees gamers, which we haven't even touched yet. We ain't going there just yet.
I would skim that, but continue to move on.
Okay, go ahead. Blank, we are now officially giving you the floor. And in response to you, by the way, Evan, I have purposely not gone a certain direction because I know Blankspace pretty darn well. And I figured the best thing for me to do is just let Blank take the soapbox.
Oh, it's common. I see it in chat. So first, before I start, I'm going to ask a question to Star, and then I'm going to go on my soapbox. So Star, if you were approached by a large company and they said, hey, we like your stream, however, we'd like you to wear more low-cut shirts and dye your hair, and we're going to pay you. Now, it's one of these funny questions, is there a certain amount where you would wear a longer shirt and show more cleavage and dye your hair if a sponsor came to you and said that? Is that something that you would accept?
Absolutely not. And it's something that has come up in the past. And one example, not necessarily with streaming or sponsors, you know, trying to get me to do those types of things, but an example would be the Maxim Gamer Girl contest that happened about a year ago. There was a bunch of females who were entering this contest. Maxim was looking for a female who plays video games to represent Maxim at gaming events and things like that, do event coverage, do videos, all this type of stuff. And upon doing this, they wanted girls to show up to auditions wearing very little clothing. This was actually stated in there. And in the videos, they wanted to see us, you know, dressed up a little bit sexy. In the photos submitted, they wanted us to dress a little sexier. I refused. I was like, if Maxim's going to hire me, they're going to do it based on my history. You know, okay, it's going to be somewhat appearance a little bit, but I'm wearing T-shirts and jeans in every single one of my photos.
Right.
That's just, I mean, because that's, I respect myself. I will not do that. And if they don't want me for how I am, I don't want to work with them. And I was so surprised to see all these other gamers that agreed with me. And then as soon as the contest started, they were so quick to post pictures of them in their underwear and lingerie.
Yep.
Because they cared more about that money and getting to work for Maxim than they did about themselves. And that, I was really surprised that people had like so little respect for themselves. And they did all of this just for a contest, and none of those girls who did that won. None of those girls were even close to the top. And it's just like, now you just disrespected yourself. You showed everybody that's what you think of yourself, and now that's forever there. Those pictures, I mean, everybody saw that that's what you're willing to do for money. I think that's kind of sad. And I would never do that.
We can be friends. Like, you know, it's just like, we can be friends now because we're going to get into this.
Now you can be friends. You couldn't before. You had to pass the will you show the cleavage test.
No, this solidifies, you know that moment when like you're like, that was just it. Because I talk about this a lot. I talk about it on my live stream. I talk about it, you know, in TeamSpeak, my community. There are folks that the dollar is a respect and money balance, where it is like, if, you know, I gave you this much money, I am willing to do such a thing. And some people have not a lot of respect for themselves. Other folks, it is more about the end game. I understand that. And I'm going to talk specifically for Twitch. I have noticed, when Twitch first started, there was just one very famous, she's no longer around, female who had what I like to call the cleavage cam. And that camera, there's quite a lot of screens that are just full screen. And if you were to count surface area, most of it is in your personalities, if you will. And I have no problem with this, because that is a choice that they are making. However, I get very frustrated when somebody is like, oh, I don't understand why it's like this. Well, come on, sweetie, like, you made the choice. And it's the same for males too. There are males. Like, I get the same one where, like, when I do Healthy Gamer, people will be like, why is he working out on stream? Well, because he has a broken back. Well, he's fat. Why would I listen to him? Like, I get a lot of stuff from it, and I understand that. It is the risk that I take for doing what I do, and I'm okay with that. There are a lot of, and it's very marketable. I've worked in marketing. When we do events for car companies, I don't work for them anymore. I'll say it publicly. I mean, when I worked with Toyota and Scion, when we did certain things, we made sure that the girls that came in looked good and knew exactly what their contract said. Like, you need to know the car stuff, you need to know how big they are, you need to know about competition, and you need to be willing to wear X, Y, and Z. Social change takes time, and we've seen movements happening. And as long as we, as whether it's a gamer, whether it's a society, whether it's humanity, keep pushing for both females and males to understand what it is to respect yourself, to be your own cheerleader, you know, even like the Healthy Gamer thing, to make choices that affect you and that you can be proud of, we'll see change. It will be slow. It will be agonizing. There will always be the dregs, like Ed said. But we can kind of, like I said, we can just keep taking this little rag and just cleaning up our little area, and, you know, find other people who want to keep doing that, because it's important, but it will take time.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more at all. So that is a little bit of our core topic. Now we get a Campfire story, which gets even more crazy. For those of you who are unfamiliar with how the Campfire stories work, allow me to share. When it comes to the Campfire, it's not just about us having guests on that we can pick topics that relate to their experiences and things and actually just talk. We also want to be able to be a soundboard for anyone who may be going through anything. And we have received a Campfire story. And this Campfire story is an interesting one. So it starts out, "Dear Campfire, my guild is a small group of friends, co-workers, and family that play together just for fun." They put the word run, but it's actually fun. "We do not do hardcore raiding or PvP. We only have 15 members and enjoy playing everything from Dota to World of Warcraft together. We've recently had a guild member reveal that they are transgendered. This caused a massive rift in the guild. Some ridiculed and bullied the player. Others were apathetic, while others wanted to be supportive. Do you have any advice for a leader who is finding the community they created be torn apart by this revelation?" Now, let's let that sink into the people who are viewing just for a moment, because that is a very, very big question. So, oddly enough, and people may be kind of shocked by this, but I'm going to turn to Blank first.
First part I'm going to say, this is a very sensitive topic. I have found in my experience that the direction of that transformation can cause quite a many issue. Secondly, there are folks who don't understand the reasoning, and what I'm going to say might shock you, but if you know me, it's not going to. You don't have to understand the shit. You just got to be supportive. We just recently had the same sort of revelation within my community, and people have been supportive. You don't have to make a big deal about the way people live their lives. I do Healthy Gamer, and when I have viewers who are like, "You know what, Blank, while you're doing that push-up and you look like you're in pain, I'm going to eat this potato chip and just enjoy it." And I'm like, dude, that's your right. As a human being, if you just want to chill and have a soda, go ahead, man. You know, rock it out. This is the reason I think that this is such a difficult topic to deal with for communities, is because everything from the religious part of it, a lot of folks I'm not even going to touch that. I'm just going to mention it. Like, there are some folks who are very religious about it. There are other folks that do not understand, and for many, a lot of people out there, if I don't understand it, it makes me scared, or I'm afraid of it, and therefore I must then act in ways that make me look ridiculous, at least in my eyes. So, acceptance and support, and leave it at that. And if someone wants to be closed-minded, I keep the axe nearby. Don't even worry about it. So that's what I have to say about that.
White Knight, real Blankspace. Bring in the axe.
Dude, I'm just a Viking king. I don't even a White Knight, dude. I just come up and I'm just like, not okay. See you later. Bye.
Screen, do you have any suggestions or thoughts to add to this particular Campfire story?
So Blank, me, and you probably are looking at this from the perspective of people within the hierarchy or the upper echelons of existing gaming communities that we've helped build, be it leaders or officers. So from the perspective of a community or a guild lead, guild officer, you are going to, if you want your community to stay together, you will have to be supportive of the person that's making that transformation or revealing this information, be it whether it's someone that is, I don't know, telling you that actually they're younger than you thought they were, or that they are a different sex, or that they are transgender, or whatever. If for some reason, like I said before, the internet triggers the society, it can be quite a big deal for some people to reveal certain things about who they are. like you said, Pseudo, about being female in certain games that you played in other guilds. It was a big deal. As a leader or an officer, someone up at the top, you have to be supportive, like Blank said. As a member of a community, from my point of view, I don't care really at the end of the day whether you're going to be super supportive of your other members in the way that they want to live their life. What I do expect you to do is be accepting of it. And these are two different things. It's a very subtle difference, but it's a huge difference. You don't need to come out and say, hey, I see what you're doing, and I have friends or that have had this same similar situation, or I will always be there for you, or all. If you don't really agree with the way that someone lives their life, or if you have some sort of issue with the fact that, say, for example, someone's transgender, or say, like I said, that someone's Romanian. I'm not really picking on Romanians. It just so happens
it's a political arena thing going on here in the UK right now. So yeah, sorry about that. I love my Romanians, but anyway.
Yeah, especially if they live next door to you. As it stands, I don't care if you have a problem with someone, but be accepting of them. So if you have a problem, put it to one side. End of the day, I am sure that there are plenty of things about the way I live my life day in, day out that people will have problems with, but they don't need to bring that when they come online and interact with other people. The same way that you don't need to bring that to work. You don't need to bring that to your game of football that you go and play with someone, or soccer, or whatever. You can quite happily get through a few hours without picking an argument with someone, so, you know, try it, and you might get on with a few more people. So understanding that difference between being supportive and being accepting, slight difference, subtle, but it's a big thing. And from being a guild lead or a guild officer to being just a lower level member of a community, these things and expectations are slightly different of you. So just understand that and kind of go with that, really. I think that's probably the best general advice I can give.
Okay. Star, do you have any advice?
I don't have much to say outside of what they already said. I mean, I'm not the type of person that's that close-minded to where somebody telling me they're transgendered would change my opinion of them. Like, okay, so you used to be a guy, now you're a girl, or you used to be a girl, now you're a guy. Like, whatever, that's their life decision. I'm sure they had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff on their own, dealing with their family stuff, whatever. Like, the last thing they need is, like, for random people on the internet to hate them. Like, come on. Like, really, it's stupid. But one thing that wouldn't make sense to me is if this person was a part of the guild before, and they were somebody who was respected and liked in the community, why are people changing their opinion about them? They're the same person. It's just you found out that they had an operation, and now that you can't deal with that? Like, well, that blows my mind. I don't understand that.
Well, what I'm going to just interject for 2 seconds, because there's a girl that's transgender in the UK that writes some gaming articles, Laura Dale.
Yeah, if you don't follow her, it's well worth the follow.
And Laura wrote an article in The Guardian a while ago, a big UK newspaper, about coming out as transgender online and how WoW helped her with that. But what she did find is that people that knew her, some of them felt betrayed, almost, because they knew her, and then she came out as transgender, and they almost felt like she had been lying to them. And that is, to some extent, you can kind of understand it's a human reaction, but as people, I think it's possible you need to understand that someone's gone, as you said, CJ, they've gone through a bigger hurdle to actually come out and say that than you're probably facing at the moment to accept it. So although to some extent you might feel justified in that, understand that's a big step for someone still to come out and expose that part of themselves, and it's something that you should try to rein in if you do feel that.
Now, from my point of view, and while I do this screen, can you do me a favor and can you get the article that she wrote and also her Twitter link as well, so that, because there are people in chat asking.
I've got it up here, yeah.
Now, in general, when it comes to this, I'm going to probably throw out a bit of advice that a lot of people may or may not like. When it comes to trying to keep a group of people together where the divide gets so severe that bullying, threatening, and things like that is occurring, I kind of want to say to this individual, you need to make a choice. You need to decide what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. And I have to agree, someone made mention in chat, at least they used the word transgendered when they sent in this question. And that's true, because there are a lot of other terms that could be used that are derogatory in a manner that I wouldn't probably even use it. I'd probably replace it if they had sent it in that way, but they used the word transgendered. So you can't always change how people view a topic. Someone, like Screen was pointing out, may not like Romanians. Some people may not like people who have blue hair. Some people may not like someone because of the class that they're in. Someone may not like someone because of skin color, because of religion, because of creed. It makes no difference. There are so many differences out there and so many different things that people could not like for whatever bias they support or choose to not support. But as the guild leader in a situation like that, you literally have to make a choice. If people are really bullying, you may have to make those internal decisions of, do I really want these people in my life anymore? Do I really want to acknowledge people who are willing to take something to that extreme? I personally would add that, because I've had to go through something like this, because I happen to have quite a few friends throughout my entire life who have actually gone through the transgender process from pre to post operation. And I have some who are still in the middle of it. I have had to sit there, and when I have witnessed them coming out to their family or them coming out to our group of friends, I have had to make a very difficult decision of, this person is my friend. Do I want to allow the people who are sitting there calling them names, threatening their lives? I mean, I have actually been physically beaten protecting a friend of mine who came out to friends. So I refuse to just sit there idly in a situation where bullying gets involved. It makes a difference to what the purpose and the topic is. I hate to say it, but you who have written to us, you may have to, at this moment in time, make that decision of, if you've got someone who is bullying, you may have to say, I'm sorry, I don't want you in my life anymore, whether they're friends, family, or whatever. And it may be one of the hardest choices you have to make, but you have to ask yourself, what are you comfortable with having in your life? That's what I would say.
I have to interrupt you, because people that bully, in my opinion, are weak-willed people. You have to bully somebody else, you are a weak person. I hate bullying. If I had $1 for every time I either stood up, pissed someone else off, or did, like, it bothers me. And you said it was a tough decision, or there were some rough times. Like, if you're a guild leader, in this example, for me, caused a rift. I don't know who's in charge, but they should have been like, listen, this doesn't change anything. There are some people who are feeling emotionally upset. You need to sit down and talk that out, because I get that. Mm-hmm. As somebody with PTSD, I don't go around telling people about the stuff I went through overseas. That comes with a whole emotional ball of stuff. Mm-hmm. It takes time. It takes getting to know people. But mm-hmm. these 15 friends have been playing games together. Some people felt, like this was, they probably felt hurt. They felt lied to, whatever it is. You need to sit down and hammer that out. But to the people who bullied, you need to get out. Because
see, that's the thing. My choice in using the term tough was more along the fact that not everybody gets into a situation where they have to find themselves making a decision like this. Absolutely. And for some people, it can be incredibly difficult, especially if, let's say, it's your best friend who has made this comment, and it's your twin sister who is being the bully. I mean, people will find themselves having to make internal judgment calls of, well, what is the choice that I'm going to make here? And it can be difficult. And I'm not even going to attempt to say that it's easy. For some people, it's one of those, like for those of us who have had tons of experience, it's one of those, boom, we can just snap our fingers and go, this is what I will tolerate, this is what I will not tolerate. But if you are 12 years old and you are being introduced to something like this, or you are 17 years old and you are being introduced to something like this, and you have no foundation of experience, it can be really tough. But I love the fact that we've had a couple of mentions of things like seek out information, seek out support. But I also want to be real about it and state there is not always going to be a happy ending to this. There is the possibility that this 15-person guild could end up a 5-person guild. Or, you know, that is entirely possible. It is up to the individual. But that's why I say that's basically what I meant by the term of choice. But yes, really, really big subject. So remember, if you guys have questions, if you have comments, if you have anything you want us to tackle in a Campfire story, and believe me, you don't have to attach a name to it, get in touch with us. You can do so at voice@MMOBuff.TV. And on that note, let's bring it back a little bit, make it a little less heavy, because, you know, this show couldn't get any deeper, could it?
Today was rough, that's for sure.
Today was a tough topic, but that's what we're here for. We're here to tackle the tough topics. We're here to talk about those things.
I've kept my on-topic stick away from the show today.
You've got a topic stick?
Catalea just made a good choice. Good mention, by the way. Sorry, Ed. But bullying should be something we should discuss because.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
I think that's a brilliant idea. And so does that mean that Catalea wants to be on the show for bullying? Is that what Catalea is saying?
Is she an expert in bullying?
Are any of us experts on bullying? Have any of us been through it?
I've been an expert at getting in trouble for physically harming bullies. Does that count?
There are a couple of really good charities here in the UK and across the world, actually, that deal in bullying. And I may just simply say, go forth and prosper and see what you can't find there, because it would be a really good idea to bring someone in on this. But okay, so let's do this then. We're coming to the end of the show. So, Starslayer, time for you to tell us a little bit about some trailblazing. So basically, you get to tell us stuff. What do you want people to be aware of? What do you want people to know?
I'm not good at talking about myself. I'm good at answering questions, but I'm not good at just talking.
Let's start here. Where is your website?
My website is starslayer.com, STARSLAY3R.com. I have some gaming news, reviews, just things that are going on with me, things that are interesting to me in the gaming world, and then I have my social media links and stuff on there too if people want to find me on Twitter, Facebook.
Then, so there's this Kickstarter thing that has recently occurred. Would you I don't know, perhaps tell us about it?
No, Princess. Yeah, there was a Kickstarter for it. It actually recently just ended. It was for a documentary called No Princess in the Castle, Women Who Game. And it's basically a documentary about women who, in the gaming industry, against all odds, punched through and, they rose above and they did amazing things in the industry. And it's like game designers, developers, professional gamers, just different people in the gaming industry that have accomplished really awesome things. And it's not like oh boo-hoo, poor me, I'm a female gamer and life is hard. It's not anything like that. It's more of focusing on the positive things that we've accomplished, and then also kind of touching base on some of the hardships that we've endured, some things that we'd like to see changed and things like that. I mean, it's a little bit about everything. There was a $60,000 goal on Kickstarter, and it recently did just surpass the 60,000 goal a few days ago. It closed out at 62,000, so the movie is for sure going to get made. It's not going to be out until January though. But
ooh, start spreading the word, folks. This is going to be interesting, and of course, all for your support where you can. Anything that can be of help. So, yeah, you see, that wasn't so hard. You got a chance to brag without bragging. That must have been easy enough. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And yes, I have to make a comment. We do know that poor Starslayer's camera has been giving her a serious amount of issues today. So, yeah. She's very unhappy with her camera. Poor dear. But yes.
Sorry.
No worries. So we move on then to charity stuff. And this is our Kumbaya section where we kind of take our hats off to charity events that are going on. And this particular time, unfortunately, we haven't heard of any recent charity events in the gaming community, which is kind of odd. I will state that we do have a charity event that will be coming to MMO Buff. our show on Thursday, the Data Mine, which is all about game development with game developers, we're doing a game jam, a 48-hour game jam where we will be given a topic, people will be put into groups, and you'll have 48 hours to go from start of concept to completed game. And we're going to be streaming it live for charity. That will be coming up. I will give more news as we get to all the things and details settled. So if you've been looking to get into the game industry or even attempt to do kind of game development, if you're an artist, a musician, a programmer, or what have you, you're going to want to pay attention for news on that. But anyway, what I want to do, I've recently had a little birdie kind of whisper in my ear that there has been some kind of amazing things occurring within a particular community, and Blank hates this, but I'm allowed to say this, so he can just suck it up. I want to publicly take my hat off to the Viking Nation. I am a member of the Viking Nation, so I do get to do this, but I have witnessed some amazing charity accomplishments and goals for things like Operation Supply Drop and things like that. And I wanted to just in a public forum say thank you guys so very much. You guys, yeah, I can't even find the words to say, you know, thank you for showing that gamers aren't just about trolling, that they do care, that they have hearts, and that they are able to look beyond just simply say game charities, but look at all the kinds of charities that are out there. I will also let you know that we've got a couple of other new charity events that will be coming up as well through a variety of places. So if you are interested in those, or if you happen to learn about one, get in touch with us so we can tell everybody, because spreading the word is so important when it comes to charity events. And what better place to do it than with a gamer group? Hey, gaming. So Blank hates the fact that I'm all like, I'm going to say thank you. He's like, but and I'm like, suck it. I get the right. So there you go. Now for the very final thing, and then we're going to basically say bye-byes to everyone. Would you guys like to hear what's occurring this week on MMO Buff?
Yes.
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, so basically...
Wow, yeah, that yawn says it all.
I think I know why, but I'll keep my mouth shut. Anyway, so tomorrow at 8 p.m. British time, which is the same time that Campfire starts, we have something called the Blizzard Forecast. Now, the Blizzard Forecast is our biggest hosted show. We've got Mizpa, Real Blankspace, Hearth Trollden, who is a popular Twitch Hearth Stone player, myself and Dr. Marshmallows, and Parv from Yogscast getting together to discuss Blizzard's entire IP structure. We have a new host who will be joining that soon as well, but I am not allowed to say who or what topic because apparently it would be too easy to guess. So, shh. Yar. Silence. Thursday.
It's Aiko's internet, Dad.
It's Aiko's internet, Dad. You are bad. Thursday, our time is completely different. It's at 1 p.m. British Standard Time. And the reason for this is because of how Danny wants to do the show, but it's the data mine. We are literally talking game development. And this Thursday, we have the CEO of UKIE.info, which is a huge group that does a whole bunch of advocacy and things in the government involving game development. You ever wanted to know why you have PG-12 or little things like that? This is a show. They also have quite a bit of information for independent developers as well. So we can get a whole bunch of stuff for you. So if you're interested in that, you're going to want to be there. And if you've got questions, send them again, voice@MMOBuff.TV, so that I can bring them to her, because she's an amazing individual. I cannot wait for you guys to meet her. Friday, we have the Cosmotronic at 8 p.m., all about WildStar. It is the last Cosmotronic pre-game release, but not the last Cosmotronic, because we're going to continue. We're going to go from speculation to postulation. I think that's actually the right term. But since the game will be out, we'll actually be able to do a whole lot of discussions of things, and we will be digging into a bunch of stuff. So this Friday, I'm looking forward to that. And then Saturday, we have a further top draw, Battle for Gia, where we dig into that TCG as I get trolled by Blankspace again. I'm watching you, sir. He's such an innocent. And then Monday, Mizpa and I are back to debate a topic all about MMOs. And we had a contest because yesterday was our 100th MMO Buff episode. because we've done 100 shows on here, and that was insane. And Swagzilla gave away something. A gigantic package will be sent to somebody full of swag based on the topic that we'll be discussing next week, because they gave us suggestions on it. And then next Tuesday, we're back with a campfire. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Woo. Do you know who our guest is going to be, Screenager?
I don't have a clue, actually. I've not arranged it yet.
Awesome.
I'm going to wing it this week. We're totally prepped. We got this. Yep.
We got this down pat, and now we got all screwed up.
Look, I was out this weekend. I was getting trashed. I'm going to own up. I got completely shit-faced with Pappy, and frankly, I haven't arranged it.
Wow. Wow. But yes, and on that note, this leaves me to say, Star, you are an absolute doll. Thank you so much for coming on, being blunt, being honest, and sharing your experiences. It's not always easy, and I can't thank you because I know how busy you are for taking the time to be with us. Hopefully, you'll want to come back, right? Right?
Yeah, you guys are awesome, of course.
Yeah, we're not putting you on the spot or anything, in public stream, like,
can I get back to you on that?
I'll totally be back.
Yeah.
I have this email from this Ed guy. Who's this Ed guy?
Unfollow on Twitter. No, not at all. You guys are awesome.
Or Screen. All you try to do is help, and you just get picked on.
It's fine. None of you accept me. Fuck you.
Aww.
Screen!
Wait, heart. There you go. That's a heart. There you go.
Yes.
You want a pumpkin heart?
Not from you.
No, I was going to wait until after the show to bring this up, but because of the fact that you are suffering so much, I'll bring it up now. We have actually had someone say in chat that they think that you, Screenager, your accent is sexy. There. Are you happy now?
I'm not sure what was about to happen there, but it's either going to be really good or really bad.
Oh, that's great. You got full on trolled there. But yes, so thank you so much, Star. Blank, as always, an absolute joy to banter and to have you here. And Screen, again, as much as we may troll you, thank you so much for bringing your dialect to us. And your class, because you definitely bring class to the show using big words.
Big, those huge words. Before we wrap,
bigness is that's a big word.
I sent a message to a developer who's female, who was having a birthday this weekend, and I'm sure you two know who it is. I'm not gonna throw it out there, but I'm also
why
gonna
you
say
throw it out there? Everyone knows now. It's just big up your
Bardic.
friends.
It's Bardic. And I'm going to say basically the same thing to Star here. It's amazing to have a 3-year-old daughter and be reinforced by females who are streaming on YouTube in the game development process in companies that I'm a male. I want to be able to show her females like you, like Jen, like Josie, and be like, this is what a strong, badass female is. Okay, daddy is male and badass and blah, 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 fine. But I want to be like, here.
We don't care,
this
man.
Is us. No. But here's an example. Like, you are not limited upon all of these social boundaries that people think they are. It's bullshit. And here's an example, and here's another example. So the same thing I've said to Josie before that I've said to Jen, thank you for being, just by being you, being an example for my daughter when she grows up to be like, dude, see this? This is called badass. It doesn't matter if you've got, what your genitalia is, it doesn't matter. You can be a badass. So thank you. And thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, thank you.
Are you ready to cry yet? Because I am. I'm totally ready to cry. Aww. But yes, on that, it leaves me to say to all of you who have participated in the chat today, who have made comments, who have had ideas, you guys have amazing conversations, and we don't always pull everything out that is said, but believe me, we do read everything that you guys do say. So you guys have yet again shown just how absolutely awesome you are, and I am looking forward to seeing you guys hopefully sometime throughout the week or even next week. And please, if you like what you are seeing, the biggest way you can help us is by spreading the word. the biggest way you can help us is by letting people know the different types of shows, because not every show is going to be for everyone. But if you do think someone will enjoy it, spread the word, share it, follow us through Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. MMOBuff, we're not that hard to find because we're MMOBuff everywhere. But yes, and also as a reminder to people, there are going to be some slight changes for us on our Twitch stream, because I am finally getting emoticons and stuff made for our subscribers. Oh my gosh. And yes, if you are one of those people who wants to go that extra mile, you can help us by subscribing to us as well and stuff. But yes, on that note, it leaves me to just say to all of you, hearts. So everybody, everybody,
my turn.
You have 3 heads. God, that is really bizarre.
I don't really know how that goes, but bye.
Right, and this leaves me to just go, wow. Toodle pip, people. Thanks for watching episode 21 of the Campfire Sexism Sucks, where we had a special guest, Starslayer, where we discussed a lot of issues ranging around sexism. If you would like to watch the previous episode, click the bobbly heads up above you. Please, if you like this, also share and subscribe. And of course, keep trucking, Rubber Ducky.